and I've missed you, so I'm back with a new show for us all. It's about our feelings, fears, and fantasies, our pain and our pleasure, our problems and our solutions. It's a time for us to come together, talk things over, think things over, and find out that we are not alone. Perhaps then we can all help each other make this world and our lives just a little bit better. Did you ever find yourself wondering about differences inside yourself and outside yourself with other people and this world? Let's take a closer look at just that issue. Joe, hi, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Klein, how are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good.
Good. You know, I'm coming to you. I'll tell you why I'm coming to you. I just have this low tolerance for people. Let's call it differences. I don't know what it is. There's just something. And it's interesting because I was reading this article, okay, and it said something that our behaviors are determined by our values, our attitudes, and our beliefs. And I started to question that because I'm having trouble with people at work, you know, my friends. I don't know. And I kept saying, well, maybe because I'm getting older, you know. Then I just started listening. I said, well, maybe it makes sense about this values, attitudes, and belief thing that I just have this low tolerance, and I'm just getting frustrated, and they're getting frustrated with me, and I'm trying to say, you know, to them, it's like, I'm basically telling them I'm right, and they're saying, no, you're not right.
Well, they have different values, attitudes, and beliefs.
Yeah, but why can't I just accept them? You know, I want to be open. I want to, you know, I say this to myself, I hear people say, well, appreciate diversity. But am I really appreciating diversity when I'm basically...
Well, that's the general values, attitudes, and beliefs with other people, you know. But that's connected to our very personal self and our history.
What do you mean?
Well, like for instance, what kind of values is it that you see in other people that are contradictory to your own, that's very different?
Well, for example, for someone going on to continue their education, you know, I was always taught that's important to do your education. Some people, you know, education is not that important. And they say to their kids, you don't want to go to college. I said, what do you mean you don't? You tell your kids you don't want to go. I said, it's not even an option. I said, it's not an option. In today's world, you have to have an education. And when they say to me, nah.
They didn't learn that when they were coming up as a value, or they fight against it because they're afraid they can't do it or something. I don't know. But the point is, they have they grew up with a different adjustment to life, and they absorbed different things that they were important in you. And you don't agree with them, and they don't agree with you.
Correct.
Now, inside that big issue of education in this world and how it's going to help you through your life is a very dynamic system inside your mind, conscious and unconscious, of self. Of when you were a little boy, for instance, you learned what you should do and what you shouldn't do and what's important. And that's very particular to your experience.
See, that's frustrating too.
Did your mother expect you to do well in school and behave yourself?
Of course. I mean, it wasn't an option. People don't understand it's not an option.
No, when you're a little boy and you don't want your mother to hit you in the head, you know, or scream at you, you have to please her. You took the pleasing road. Maybe other kids in your family didn't.
Well,
but
that's true.
A personal choice. You adopted, listened to your mother, and you got good grades, and you presented yourself well, and you did your homework, and you now are, what do?
Well, you know, I'm a teacher.
And you have a doctorate.
Yeah.
Right, because that was the path that you took from as your personal thing that you should do. You listen to your mother, and you should do that. Other things you listen to your mother about became your personal shoulds. Now, a lot of those messages go down into the basement of your mind, which is your unconscious mind, and they process very fast. So when anybody says, education's not important, up comes an objection to what you should do. You say, no, what are you talking about? It's very important. That's how I was a good boy. That's how my mother would approve of me.
I do that with even how people dress sometimes. And you know, it's funny that you
Was she
said
funny
it.
about that,
Oh my
too?
gosh.
Oh my God.
My mom was into clean clothes, iron clothes. Image was very important. You know, my children are going to look a certain way, and that was important. But to this day, I feel the same way. I feel I have to have a nice shirt. It has to be ironed. It has
You
to be whatever.
should. If you have a spot on your shirt, you'll say, what's that, right?
Oh, I would not have that shirt on. That
You
shirt
would
would
not-
that would take it off. No, that's not even an option. It's not an option.
But what if someone wasn't raised with a mother who was very casual and really, so you can wear a shirt 3-4 days, so what?
No, see, I would have trouble with
The
that.
jacket covers the spot, it's all right.
But I know I know the spot's there.
But they had a different experience than you. It wasn't their should. They didn't hear that.
I know, but why is it
didn't
do I
hear
want
schools
everybody
important.
else to hear my should and to accept my should as their should?
Because then that makes you a good boy.
Okay.
And you have the way to be a good boy. And you're saying to them, you're not going to be a good boy or a girl if you don't go to school. And you're doing the wrong thing and you're wearing the wrong shirt. Because in your mind, that's your truth.
And what's interesting is
And if you had a spot on your shirt, you'd be the same person with the spot or without it.
yeah, but to myself, it would just drive me crazy.
No, it would get you angry at yourself. That perfect kid you're supposed to be to please your mother is going to get mad at you if you had a spot on your shirt. Because then you're less than who you should be.
You're probably
your
right.
mother.
You're probably right. But then I'm doing the same thing my mother did to me, to others.
You don't have to. You're
What do you mean?
very bright. You realize that very quickly. If I have the answer, then if others don't agree with that answer, they're wrong, and I'm right. But they're different.
They're different, but it would make my life a lot easier if they would,
You don't wear
just
their
follow
shirt.
the program.
You wear your own shirt. Let them wear theirs.
You know, it's easier said than done. I mean, I'm thinking at two levels.
You-
At one level, I agree with you, what you're saying.
Yeah.
At another level, it's saying, no.
Oh,
I hear a
no.
voice inside my head saying,
And the voice is which voice? The boy you should be, so your mother will keep off your back.
you're probably right.
And that voice is a voice you hear. The boy you should be is in your imagination. If you were perfect, your mother would never scream.
But I struggle with that. You know what I'm saying? If I do
You-
what I should
Who
do,
struggles with it?
there's a person inside me. Oh, that's all I know. That struggles with it. Basically
Who do
says
you struggle with?
self.
Who struggles with who?
I don't.
There's a perfect boy. Your imagination came out that who you should be, and then there's you. There's a mortal. Mortals do get ketchup on their shirt, but it becomes the sin of the year.
Yeah.
So, I will judge myself because of a spot of ketchup.
But I'm harder on myself than I am on others, so
I'm harder
on myself.
That's two of you I hear. I,
What do you mean?
subject,
Yeah.
am harder
Yeah.
on, dump on, verb,
Yeah.
myself, object. Subject, verb, object. That's two of you right there. I'm hard on myself. What I? Is that the I you thought you should be so your mother would get off your back?
It's the I that has succeeded by following the plan. But I don't even know if I really succeeded because there are things I don't do that I want to do. I just feel compelled to do what I should do.
I know, but that's the I that you should do to make your mother not be mad at you. Some of it.
But my
was,
mother's
what if I-
gone.
Oh, honey, she ain't gone, sweetheart. Close your eyes. Can't you see her face?
Clearly.
Can you hear her messages?
Oh, I can hear them.
You've
Nada.
recorded them, and now it's become that I you should be has recorded your mother's messages and are relaying them to yourself. You think she's gone? Are you kidding? She's transferred the authority to be mad at you if you have a spot on your shirt to you.
But I carry it around inside my head.
I know you have to talk back.
Talk back? What do you mean talk back? I wasn't
Well,
allowed to talk back when I was
If you
small. You
had
think
a
I'm going to
spot
talk
on
back
your
now?
shirt and you're on, well, yes, because you're not little anymore.
You know, yeah,
But
right.
you see, then either you talk back or you talk at somebody else. You have a spot on your shirt. You got to clean that.
That's what I do.
Well, instead of saying it to yourself, you have to say it. You're saying it to someone else. It hurts less.
Yeah, you know
See,
what?
to fight a war with yourself hurts. To fight it with someone else is less. Then you're criticizing them, not you.
Yeah, and that's what I do. And you know, and I catch myself sort of and say, why did I say that? You know, it's like I want to bite my tongue, but I can't. It just happens. It happens so quickly. I can't even tell you. In milliseconds, it's like too late. It's out.
I know, honey. You know why it's so quick? Because the unconscious mind, do you imagine if you were perfect, mommy wouldn't criticize? Operates, processes information at 400 million synapses a second, which is the gap between the wires of your brain, the neurons. And your conscious mind, only 12 or 13,000. That's why it's so quick. And before it hits you, it makes you feel bad. The dumping on you. You just take your gun and you go, bang, to someone else. They doing that triggers, oh, that's terrible. And instead of dumping on you for the one spot you once got on your shirt somewhere, God knows when, the time doesn't matter in that brain. And then you shoot at them. But you're nice about it.
But you're right, because when I'm in turmoil or something, I normally externalize whatever it is my issue is.
It's
You know, I'm
first-
struggling inside, but then I start dumping on others, and I'm thinking, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to say that.
I
It's
know,
like,
but you see, if you are not dumping on yourself, you won't need to project that dump to someone else. The war is won with yourself. You can't win wars with other people. You can't change their beliefs, attitudes, and values. Only they can. You can't change them to keep them safe and clean and educated. You can't change them. I'm in the business, bud. I'm a counselor. I cannot change your mind. I can only reflect to you what I hear it saying in a place that's too fast to catch. And you're pretty quick at catching this.
yeah, but I get frustrated because you're right. I catch it, but I still violate it.
Well, then it isn't perfect.
What-
It's a process. You know, my friend recently told me, my friend Pearlie recently told me she was learning Italian. And she never forgot this Italian teacher who was very nice. But she got upset with herself. She said, I keep making the same mistake. And she got very angry with herself. And the Italian teacher said to her, oh no, madame, or whatever he said, signora, you don't make a mistake. You just don't know. When you know, you don't make a mistake. And she applied that to just about everything she learned ever since. And I said, I will never tell that story without giving her the credit, because it's a really wonderful story. In other words, you don't know something. So the better you know it, the less you're going to do it, because if you win the war with yourself, you realize you don't have to change anyone else. You can't anyway.